believe. We have
Yes.
mass media misinforming people. We have people have become dumbed down. I think that's actually really the two cruxes of the issue: lack of personal responsibility and self-reliance, so that everybody becomes dependent, and a
Right.
lack of critical thinking. The ability to think for oneself and the ability to take care of oneself are the two things that have been virtually eliminated.
Quite true. But I think it has a lot to do with all that fluoride we use to prevent tooth decay.
Yeah. See, I wanted to swallowing fluoride is foolish. It's like me saying I need a haircut, so I'm going to swallow scissors.
That's a good analogy, brother. That's an excellent analogy.
You know, it only works topically, bro.
Right? But it's scary, today because you see the fluoride is in everything, and I go back to Canada, and I honestly, when I was in Europe, I lost quite a bit of weight when I was here, and I think it was basically due to the much better food supply. Because as soon as I went back to Canada, in no time, I started swelling up again. Of course, I didn't have any oil, and, the toxins in the food there, and the GMOs, you're just surrounded by it. And unfortunately in Canada, this is another thing I love about Europe. There's so many people here that still grow their gardens just like they did 100 or 200 years ago. In Canada, I don't know where the hell you'd find a garden now. They all just go to the grocery store. I mean, people don't grow their own food. They put the responsibility for their lives in the hands of others. And that's about the dumbest thing you can do.
Yeah. Imagine one day, power's off, just the power being cut off. Nothing more.
Right?
That's the
all it
only thing.
takes.
Everybody's dead. All right?
Yep.
They won't be able to
End of the
feed
world.
themselves. They won't be able to get water. They won't be able to watch TV, turn on lights. They won't be able to heat themselves. They won't be able to keep themselves cool in the summer. You can't do nothing without power. And this became very obvious to me and my mate Dan the other day when we had a big power outage in our area. About 43,000 homes got affected. It was like a quarter of the city, Virg.
Right.
Well, not a quarter of the city. There's like 1.4 million people in the city. It's actually quite a small amount, but virtually as far as the eye could see, it's just darkness, blackness. And what's funny is that you get so used to having all of these conveniences that once they're taken away, it actually takes a while to kick in that there's not there anymore. It's like, man, it's real dark in here, and you try flip on that's right, there's no freaking light. Man, I'm really hungry. Let's cook some dinner. Oh, we can't because there's no electricity. Damn, man, I really want a coffee. Let's boil some water. We don't have any electricity to boil water.
But, look at the stupid things we do, Vinny. We put all our eggs in one basket, for God's sakes. This computerized world, everything runs on a microchip now. Well, what happens to all those microchips if we have an electromagnetic pulse? Everything stops. So, people are not prepared for the disasters that could happen in the near future. And, I think every home should have kerosene lamps, a food supply, and a way you can survive. But people just trust the system. If anything happens, our government will save us. No, they won't. It's that simple.
They will save themselves, and themselves
Yes.
only. It's called the Continuity of Government Program. It has been exposed. The documents have been released, declassified. They don't give a frack about you. They don't give a frack about democratic rights, even though I don't really believe in democracy. It's just, two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. But
Right.
and it occurs to me that it only exists, government only exists because people believe it's lies. As soon as people stop believing lies, once the truth comes out, the people being dumbed down stops. The people being dependent stops. Just stop believing lies. And the best way to stop believing lies is if you're constantly telling the truth,
Right.
I was watching this great movie called The Tale of Despero. It's about a little mouse, a very brave little mouse, and he's obsessed with being a knight, to follow the knight's code of courage, honor, and truth. And I thought that's actually a good trinity to live by, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
We seem to have lost that, and it needs to be brought back.
Definitely. Yes, I would have to agree with that one, brother. Well, I think the human race has actually lost their identity. You know, we don't even know what it is to be a human anymore. But in the future, you know, I can see the handwriting on the wall now. The American monetary collapse, that's bound to happen. The EU isn't not much better off with their euro. You know, these monetary systems are just a fraud. They're just paper, and it's not based on anything. But I think there's going, you know, like when it all collapses, there's going to be a great number of people suddenly wake up and realize, well, my money is worthless. Now what do I do? You know, and on top of that, I think that the road, no matter what happens now, the road leads back to cannabis, because with the honeybee going extinct, I mean, that's going to have a devastating effect on the farm crops. And where do you turn? Well, what's the greatest food supply on earth? You know, with the cannabis seeds, if you have cannabis seeds, you're never going to starve to death, and you don't need honeybees to grow cannabis. All you need is the males and a little bit of wind to pollinate the females.
Oh, yeah, it works. And what I found interesting as well, with hemp, a couple of people tried this. They tried growing some cannabis inside a hemp field, you know, high THC cannabis inside a low THC hemp field. And they cross-pollinated and turned them all to hemp.
Oh, God, yes, it would.
And they were like, damn, I was going to smoke that weed, man.
If you're
I'm on disability, man.
Put it in with the corn, not in with the industrial hemp.
Yeah. Well, hey, corn is a breed of grass.
Yeah. But, you know, like today, it's like, well, I'm getting emails, like so many emails now. They're just pouring in from, you know, all over the planet. And, you know, and it's a wonderful feeling knowing that, you know, something that you started is having such a dramatic impact, you know, on our planet and everybody on this planet. And so it really gives me a good, you know, a warm feeling in my heart to know that, you know, something good is happening.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with Rick Simpson. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show that knows what side it is on the side of truth, justice, and freedom. It's all very well fighting for the survival of the human race, but if you're not fighting for the survival of a free human race, what the hell is the point in surviving at all?
You're quite right, brother. You know, I mean, people are always asking me, Vinny, you know, like, well, what can we do? We have no power. You know, I always tell people, look, you've got all the power in the world. Just unite. You know, what would happen this coming weekend if everybody in Australia didn't drive their cars? Do you think the gas companies might take notice? The same goes for the food industry. You know, go and start growing your own gardens. Put a dent in, you know, in this evil monster. And, you know, like people just, you know, if they would just stand together, they could empower themselves because they truly are the power. But as long as you're going to leave it in the hands of these idiot governments, well, you're never going to know freedom or anything else. All you're going to know is death and destruction.
Yeah, and I found that you don't even necessarily need to stand together in order to make huge righteous change. You just need to not back the frack down. And this is something we were talking about over the break when I have arguments with people online, when I know that they're wrong and I have the evidence that I'm correct and I know for a fact that they're lying and that they don't have any evidence. What do, Rick? They frickin' back down and walk away and pretend that it didn't happen. But they don't do it instantly. They only do it once they realize that their lies, misinterpretations,